Hey everyone, it's Andy and Jenna from A Couple Travelers. We are back with a video giving you the details on everything you need to know about visiting Walt Disney World in 2021.
Woo!
We're talking COVID procedures, we're talking what new rides are expected to open and when, we're talking the new Rise of the Resistance boarding group procedure, 50th anniversary details, what we do know, and a lot more. So let's get to it.
And so before we dive right in, we just want to say all of this information is accurate as of today, January 17th. And if we know anything about Disney, things change often and things change really quick. So if we can recommend anything, if you are traveling to Walt Disney World this year, book your trip with a certified Disney travel agent. They will be able to let you know everything that you need to know before you actually go, because something that is true now might not be true in 3 months when it's time for your trip. And working with the Disney travel agent is completely free. They're usually compensated through Disney and you pay the same price as if you were to go online and book your trip yourself. And if you haven't booked your trip yet and you want to, I actually happen to work with Magical Vacation Planner, who is a authorized Disney vacation planner agency. I would be more than happy to help you plan your trip. You can find my contact information in the description below.
The first thing you need to know about traveling to Walt Disney World in 2021 are the COVID procedures. So that is still precautionary measures that are happening this year. The first of which is temperature screening. So any of the 4 parks, as well as Disney Springs, require a temperature check before you actually get inside. They have members of Advent Health, which is an Orlando-based health agency there doing the temperature screenings. And if you have a temperature of 100.4 or above, they will actually ask you to step aside and hopefully give you the chance to cool off if you're just overheated from the weather, and then give you a second chance. If you are still at 100.4 or above, you will be turned away and denied entry. So just take that into consideration before you go into the park, and that is for you and your whole party as well.
The next thing in terms of COVID is that you are required to wear a face mask in order to go anywhere on Walt Disney World property, and you have to wear one all the time. Things like neck gaiters or just bandanas tied around your mouth are not acceptable. It has to be, a face mask with the ear holes to put it on like this. There are 2 exceptions when you can take your mask off: when you are stationary and eating and drinking. So if you're at a restaurant, you can take it off when you sit down, or if you're in the parks, you're supposed to move off to the side, be stationary, then take it off to eat or drink, and then put your mask back on. But Disney's very strict about the face mask. They have people walking around looking for it, telling you to pull it up over your nose. So if you or anybody in your party has issues keeping a face mask on pretty much 24/7, even walking around the resorts, even if no one's around and you're walking around your resort, you have to have it on, so just keep that in mind.
Another exception to the face mask rule is any mask with a vent in it. That is also not an approved face covering.
Then of course, when you're at your resort and you are in the swimming pool, you don't have to wear a mask either. So those are the 2, when you're eating and drinking or when you are swimming.
As of recording this video, Disney parks are at a 35% park capacity. That was formally announced by Disney a few months ago. That has likely changed based on videos and photos that we're seeing from after the holidays. I would guess it's more up to like 50 or even more than that now.
Yeah.
So they will probably announce what the new formal capacity is during their next quarterly earnings call. But the last official announcement from Disney was that all parks at Walt Disney World are at 35% park capacity, so just take that into consideration.
Okay, so the next thing you need to know in terms of Disney's COVID procedures and operations is that in order to enter a Disney theme park, and because they are limiting capacity in the theme parks, you need to make a park pass reservation. In order to do so, you need to have a ticket purchased, and then through the My Disney Experience app, you can reserve one park for every day of your trip. But you won't be able to just show up like normal to your Disney vacation and go to any park of your choosing. You have to reserve that in advance, and once you have a valid ticket, you can make that reservation even as far out through the end of 2021 right now.
So Disney is doing a great job of keeping people spaced out. That was very apparent from our trip there, and they still are going to have those measures in place in terms of socially distanced lines this year. So pretty much anywhere you would need to wait in a queue, be it for a ride, to take a photo with a photographer, to get into a gift shop or a restaurant, you're going to have those markers that clearly say, please stand here. So please do your part to abide by those. They're all spaced 6 feet apart. So just take that in consideration. If you do see a lot of queues kind of making their way into the pathways, that's because of the extra lines.
Another thing Disney is doing because of COVID is they are putting either plexiglass dividers or some sort of plastic barrier on rides so that they can sit multiple parties in the same ride system. So things like the Safari and Living with the Land, which are kind of like just rows, they have some sort of plastic like curtain in between. Even different from when we just went to Disney, we went on Smuggler's Run by ourselves. They were only doing one party per Falcon at the time, but now they put up plexiglass dividers so they could sit more than one party at a time. So just keep in mind that some of your ride experiences may be affected because you're looking through a barrier of some sort. So it is unfortunate, but they're doing that so that the lines aren't as long, because I think as they up the capacity, the lines have been getting longer and they wanted to rectify that. So
all these barriers are technically transparent. You just need to take into consideration that if you're in a dark ride, for example, you're going to get a lot of reflection, but just take that with a grain of salt as you plan your next trip. So something they introduced back when the parks reopened in July of 2020 was doing away with parades and replacing them for the time being with what they call cavalcades. So they're basically mini parades. They're not at any scheduled times to avoid people waiting hours before and getting into large crowds. They just kind of pop up and it's kind of a nice surprise throughout your day. So there are cavalcades in each of the 4 parks. In Magic Kingdom, for example, the cavalcades will route from Frontierland down Main Street, USA. In Epcot, they all take place in World Showcase. At Hollywood Studios, they will go up Hollywood Boulevard and down towards the Echo Lake section of the park where Indiana Jones is. And then in Animal Kingdom, they are actually called flotillas. And they're, instead of characters being on floats or walking on the path, they're on boats that go around the rivers of, basically go around Discovery Island of Animal Kingdom. So you could catch them depending on where you are in the park.
But I loved these because our prior trips to Walt Disney World, we never did the parades because you would have to get there at like over an hour in advance to get a good spot, and then you wait for the parade. And we used that as an opportunity to get on some rides. When everyone's flocking to Main Street to watch the parade, we would try to get a ride or two in. So this was nice because it would just pop up out of nowhere. You'd be like, oh my God, look who it is. And it would be done in less than a couple of minutes, and then you just move on. So I hope that this continues even after COVID, but this is great. You're going to see several of them throughout the day. You don't have to worry. You will definitely get your like mini parade fix. So the last thing we want to mention about Disney's COVID procedures right now is that they are cleaning every single ride vehicle once every 2 hours. So this is their way of making sure that things are staying sanitary with everything that's going on, but this definitely adds to the wait time. I think that's why a lot of the ride wait times are really cushioned, is because they don't want you to think it's 30 minutes, but then they had to stop the ride to clean it, and then it was really 45. So they definitely add some time in, but you will definitely hear announcements. Sorry, we are now cleaning. What do they say?
We're now cleaning their. It's all themed to whatever ride you're in, but we would much rather them take a few extra minutes and clean, as opposed to not. So it's totally understandable at the end of the day.
Exactly.
The next thing we want to talk about in terms of the Disney World parks for 2021 are the things that are not happening, unfortunately. Yeah. So the first thing is there are no parades, no fireworks, no nighttime shows. So any sort of those large spectacle events that you would see in the park, obviously those will bring together a large crowd. They're not doing that for the time being.
The next thing that we know is not happening are character meet and greets. So there's no, you go into Magic Kingdom, you wait in line to meet Mickey, get your photo, get your autograph. That, unfortunately, is not happening. Other ways to see the characters are those mini character cavalcades that pop up randomly, or you could go to one of the many modified character dining experiences, which we will get to in a bit.
And we have also seen the characters at other spots in the park, so Disney acknowledges that they're not doing the meet and greet. So for example, if you're in Magic Kingdom, when we were there, we saw a lot of the characters up on the train station on Main Street. In Epcot, they had them outside of the Journey into Imagination. So they will kind of be those little pop-up experiences that you can encounter them. You just can't get close and take a photo with them.
Right, yeah. So, bringing your autograph book, that's not a thing right now. So it's not, you want a photo of you hugging Mickey, that's not a thing, but you can definitely see them from a distance, wave to them, take a selfie, that sort of thing.
There are also no dinner shows, which is one of my favorite things about a Disney World trip is you get to go to these really cool nighttime shows. So for example, Hoop-Dee-Doo Musical Review, the Polynesian Luau, those are not happening, unfortunately, and they hope to bring them back in the future.
A lot of these shows that we love within the parks aren't happening right now either. So there's no Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular at Hollywood Studios, which we love so much. There's no Beauty and the Beast live on stage at Hollywood Studios. There's no Festival of the Lion King.
Love that show.
Oh, love it so much.
Hey guys, jumping on here as we're editing this video to say that Disney just announced that they are actually bringing back Festival of the Lion King summer of 2021. They didn't provide a specific date, but they did say that summer of 2021, Festival of the Lion King is coming back to Animal Kingdom in a modified version. Really happy to see Festival of the Lion King coming back.
The only show that we know of right now happening is at Hollywood Studios, the Frozen Sing-Along Celebration, is that the formal name? But that is actually the only one that is happening right now. All of the others that are so beloved, not a thing right now for 2021. Hopefully they will come back soon.
Now the good stuff. What is happening in 2021? Big news, well, not so big anymore, but a lot of people are excited to hear about this, is that park hopping is back, which is huge.
So exciting. But it's modified.
It is modified. So that started as of January 1st. How it works is that you still need to have a park pass reservation to get into your first park of the day. So you need to check into that park in order to actually park hop to another park. So come 2 o'clock, you were then allowed to leave your first park and head to one of the other 3 parks. You don't need to have a park pass reservation for the park that you're going to, but you do need to have the park hopper ticket option on your resort reservation.
There are a couple ways so that you don't waste your time and go to another park to find that it is full. So if you are, for example, at Animal Kingdom and you need to take a bus over to Magic Kingdom for your second park, the cast members at the bus stop at Animal Kingdom won't let you board a bus to Magic Kingdom if Magic Kingdom is at capacity. But there also is a phone number, we will put it down here, that you can call. It's an automated message, but it will tell you if any parks are at capacity so that you don't waste precious time on your vacation going to a park to find out it's at capacity and you can't get in. Another thing to note, which is kind of a bummer, is that if you make your park pass, say for Magic Kingdom, and then you want to go to Epcot for dinner, if you make a dining reservation at Epcot for that night and you go to park hop and it's at capacity, your dining reservation does not get you in. So keep that in mind. If there is a special, dinner that you're planning for your vacation, be safe and make it on the park that you have your park reservation for the day, because you don't want to make a special Le Cellier reservation and not be able to get into the park because it hit capacity. So just keep that in mind.
And a big question surrounding park hopping is it only for one park or is it for all 4 parks? So you technically can get into all of the 3 parks after you've made the park pass reservation for your first park. So Disney hasn't announced that officially, but everybody who we've seen down there actually doing the park hopping has been successful in getting into 4 parks in one day.
So another thing that is happening for sure for 2021 is the modified character meals on property. So we said earlier, you know, there's no official character meet and greets. You can't go up, hug characters, get their autograph, that sort of thing. But if you were trying to do a lot of rides in the park, a good way to see the characters is to do a character meal. So there are currently 4 restaurants that are doing a sort of modified character dining experience. So you will see characters, they will come by, they'll wave, you can take a selfie with them. You'll see them several times throughout the course of a meal, but it's not the traditional character meal that you're used to. But the 4 that are happening are Topolino's Terrace, which we did on our trip, the breakfast a la art with Mickey and Friends.
We'll link that video here.
It was awesome. The food is great. You're at the top of Disney's newest resort, the Riviera Resort. You see Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy in their like artist outfits. That one is a lot of fun. There also is Garden Grill at Epcot. This restaurant has Mickey, Chip and Dale, and Pluto in their farmers outfits. Super cute. And that restaurant also spins, and you see part of Living with the Land. It spins very slowly, don't worry, but like it's a really fun atmosphere. Then there is Chef Mickey's, which has the Fab Five, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Pluto, and Goofy. And then last but not least, Hollywood and Vine at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which has Mickey, Minnie, Goofy, and Pluto. I actually don't know if they have any special costumes right now. I know they had a Halloween thing, and then they had like a holiday thing, so I don't know what the normal, now that the holidays are over. I'm sure they're wearing something cute.
The Epcot Festivals are also happening as well. There are pretty much always festivals happening.
I love it.
At Epcot now. Currently, as we're recording this video, it is the Epcot Festival of the Arts till February 22nd. You also have the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival from March 3rd to July 5th, which was extended pretty extensively, actually.
Yeah.
So if you really enjoy the Flower and Garden Festival, you now can see it through July. The Epcot Festival of the Arts and the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival are both confirmed dates. The 2 festivals that are not yet confirmed yet are arguably the most popular, including Food and Wine, which typically takes place in the fall, and then Epcot Festival of the Holidays, which obviously happens around the holidays. So I don't see why they wouldn't bring them back.
No, if they did them this year, they're gonna do them next year.
They just haven't announced dates yet. The last event that we know is happening is the return of the Electrical Water Pageant. A lot of people love this, so we were really happy to see it come back. It takes place nightly from 8:30 to 10 o'clock on the Seven Seas Lagoon. So if you are staying at the Contemporary, the Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, I believe it also goes into the body of water where the Fort Wilderness Lodge is as well. You could see it. You could see it there. So check that out.
Now it's time to talk about the best ride at Walt Disney World, Rise of the Resistance.
As if we haven't hyped this enough already.
But you, as of right now, can only ride Rise of the Resistance if you get a boarding group via the My Disney Experience app. In order to do so, there are 2 things you need. You need a valid park ticket, and you need a park pass reservation for Hollywood Studios. If you have that, on the day of your park reservation, you can attempt to get a boarding group at 7 a.m. and at 1 p.m. Now here's where it gets tricky. For 7 a.m., you do not have to be in the park, which...
You can't be because it's not open yet.
Yes. But it used to be that it would be for the time the park opened and you had to already be in the park. But now you can do it from 7 a.m. anywhere.
Somewhere within Florida.
Yeah, yes. So like you can't be in Massachusetts and flying down for the day. Like that's not a thing. But like somewhere driving distance, like they set like a geo-fence or whatnot. So you can attempt to get it there. For the 1 o'clock, you have to be inside Hollywood Studios. So for 7 a.m. or for 1 p.m., you open your My Disney Experience app. it will pop up. There will be a thing, Rise of the Resistance, on the main screen. Doesn't matter where you are, it's always on the main screen. And at the time, it will pop up a button that says join. Now, what we did is Andy was on the phone and I had my phone out with like the world clock and I was refreshing. And the second it turned 7 a.m., I said go. And he refreshed his screen. The button popped up. He clicks join. Then your screen is gonna pop up with your family and friends. And it should automatically select those who have valid park passes too. So don't spend a lot of time on the screen, just hit next. Then the next screen will tell you if you got a boarding group or if you didn't. But you have to be quick, hop on like 10 minutes before, keep refreshing your screen, be ready, and only have one person attempt to do it, because if not, the system thinks you're trying to like cheat it and get multiple boarding groups and it may reject it.
So to summarize our tips for this, like Jenna said, have a second phone or like an Apple Watch out for which you could see it actually counting the seconds. So that way, when it actually hits 7 o'clock on the dot, you're able to jump right in and join your boarding group. We also recommend using your data over Disney Wi-Fi. We use just our cellular data. That seemed to be very reliable because we got a good group. So just take that into consideration.
Yeah, Disney Wi-Fi with everybody trying to be on it, it could be slow, especially in the park.
Yep.
So if possible, use your own data.
And then when your boarding group is actually called, you will have up to 1 hour to return to the entrance of the queue to get on the ride. And the last thing to note for Rise of the Resistance is that you do need to have a park pass reservation for Hollywood Studios in order to book a boarding group. So since we mentioned that park hopping is back, you can't have a park pass reservation for Magic Kingdom, for example, and still try to get a boarding group because you're planning on park hopping to Hollywood Studios later. You do need to have the park pass for your first park that day be for Hollywood Studios in order to be eligible to get a boarding group. The next thing we want to talk about for 2021 is Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary beginning on October 1st. Disney has been surprisingly quiet, or unsurprisingly considering everything that's been happening, about details for this, but we do know a few things, so we'll get into that here. Disney just announced this past week that they are permanently discontinuing extra magic hours. Instead of extra magic hours, if you are a Walt Disney World resort guest, so if you're staying at one of the resort hotels, you will be allowed into any of the 4 theme parks up to 30 minutes prior to park opening. So that's going to be your advantage as opposed to people who are not staying on property.
Right, and I actually do think this is a good thing, because how extra magic hours used to work in the past is that only one park would have like an early morning opening for people staying on Walt Disney World property. So that park, like if you didn't have a park hopper, that park was so crowded the whole day. It just directed everybody to that park. So this is, you can go to any of the theme parks and get in 30 minutes early. So it's kind of going to spread out the crowd, which I think is great, but I will miss having those night, like Epcot open 2 extra hours at night for Disney resort guests. Like that will definitely be missed, but at least this is something, some sort of advantage for staying on property. You could get 1 or 2 rides done in that 30 minutes.
Be quick if you could do it in 30 minutes.
And if it opens 30 minutes early, you should still be getting there before that. Don't waste your 30 minutes like walking up and scanning in. Like get there an hour before it opens so that you, or like an hour before the official park opens, so 30 minutes before you can get in. For that advantage, it will be worth it.
I do hope Disney considers extending this to an hour just to make it a little more attractive.
Especially since we just went a couple months ago and we were getting in 45 minutes early, and it wasn't because we were a resort guest. So it's like 30 minutes, you could be doing an hour. You're pretty much doing that anyway.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when this starts happening, how people's days are starting in terms of what rides they could get on. So we'll see. Now, lots to talk about in terms of rides and attractions that are tentatively scheduled to open in 2021. A lot of this was supposed to happen in 2020. Now Disney World has pushed it to this year, so let's get into it. The first of which, probably coming up in the very near future, I would say, is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure opening in the France Pavilion at Epcot. This is a new extension to the France Pavilion in terms of some new theming and the actual attraction itself. Everything we've been seeing in terms of videos and photos from coming out of Epcot is that it is very close to opening. They actually just removed the construction walls and put up planters, which is very much a sign that opening is coming up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think as soon as you start to see them put down those social distancing markers, you know that a soft opening is upon us. So from what we're hearing right now in terms of Disney rumors, and again, nothing is officially announced as of recording this video. This is just speculative. It's just a rumor. I would say they're anticipating a soft opening by the end of January with a formal opening some point in February.
We also have been anticipating the opening of the restaurant Space 220 in Epcot. This was supposed to happen in 2019. Then it was going to happen in 2020. Perhaps 2021 is the year.
It's one of those classic Disney construction projects that takes 3 years longer
but
than
it's going to
anticipated.
be so cool.
Yeah.
It's going to be really cool. Hopefully this opens. Big things are happening in Epcot. Hopefully that will be added in 2021.
Also at Epcot is Harmonious, which is the new nighttime spectacular that is going to be the permanent replacement for Illuminations. After Illuminations closed last fall, it was temporarily replaced by Epcot Forever, which was then paused when the parks closed in March. Harmonious is going to be this brand new spectacle. They've actually started floating out these big barges
Permanent barges
onto World Showcase Lagoon. So if you are going to the parks, you can't miss those. They're right in the middle of the lake there. But everything that is being talked about in terms of the Disney rumor mill, when this is supposed to open, again, nothing officially announced, but at least there are people talking about this planning for a spring break-ish time frame for, I'd say March or May, any in that time.
There's the question of, right now there are no nighttime shows, nighttime fireworks, anything like that. So if it is ready, are they even going to open it? Is that going to be the start of, okay, let's start releasing the nighttime shows, and since we're at park capacity, maybe we can space people out?
Yep.
Who knows, but definitely something to keep an eye out on.
I wouldn't be surprised if Harmonious is one of the first nighttime shows to return, because since it is taking place in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon, they can better control social distancing around the lagoon.
Right. It's up, is it 1.2 miles around? So you could really space people out, especially when park is at limited capacity. So maybe let's hope.
We also need to mention two of the biggest attractions that were really the e-tickets that were headlining the 50th, and that is Tron Light Cycle Run at the Magic Kingdom and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. Both two roller coasters. As of right now, again, opening dates are unknown. We're hearing possibly maybe a winter 2021 opening for Tron, but I think Guardians of the Galaxy at this point is a safe bet for 2022. So still during that 50th anniversary time frame. The big thing that's holding that attraction up is that you are actually going to have the Guardians of the Galaxy featured in visuals in that ride. And from what the Disney rumor mill is talking about, they are going to try to leverage part of filming for Thor: Love and Thunder, which is the next Thor movie taking place. It's currently filming in Australia, so they're trying to get all the actors to Australia.
So funny. I actually didn't know that.
To while they have all the sets and everything out, to get them to do their filming, because from what we're hearing, that's really the only thing holding up the attraction right now is the Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana actually getting on camera.
Oh, cool.
So we'll see. Can't wait till that opens. Another part of Walt Disney World that people often forget about are the water parks. So both Blizzard Beach and Typhoon Lagoon have been closed since Walt Disney World closed in March of 2020. However, Blizzard Beach is reopening this March, specifically March 7th, 2021. So it'll be the first time it's been opened in over a year. So that is another thing opening again at Walt Disney World in 2021. Also opening at Walt Disney World in 2021 are some hotels. Specifically, we have the All-Star Movies Resort reopening on March 22nd. We have Disney's Beach Club Resort reopening on May 30th. the Wilderness Lodge opening on June 6th, and Disney's Polynesian Village Resort does not currently have an opening date, but it is said to reopen sometime in 2021. Now, specifically for Beach Club, Wilderness Lodge, and Polynesian, the DVC parts of those resorts have been opened since the resort itself reopened last year. However, now the general public rooms part of the hotels are reopening. Another hotel opening at Walt Disney World in 2021 is a first of its kind. It is the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel. If you're not familiar with this, it is basically a cruise but on land. The idea is that you are leaving Earth, you are blasting up to a spaceship set in the Star Wars universe, and you're going to have 2 days basically hanging out in space. It is a full immersive experience. It is all inclusive model, if you will. So all of your food and other things are going to be included. Disney hasn't released the full details yet, but they've definitely compared it to being a cruise but on land. That is something that a lot of Star Wars fans and non-Star Wars fans are looking forward to, but that is going to be scheduled to open at Walt Disney World in 2021.
Okay, so there are 3 other things that have to do with travel in general that you will either need to know for 2021 or early in 2022. So the first of which was just announced this week, Magical Express as of January 1st, 2022 is permanently suspending operations. And we are crushed.
Yeah.
We are crushed.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. That is something that is the start of every Disney trip. I mean, that's when the vacation starts.
Yeah.
Is you get off the plane and you go downstairs and you're waiting in line and then watching the video and then you go through the Disney gates and it's just like...
We don't know why they cut it. People are saying it's just a very...
Well, I know why.
Well, it was popularity. They say it was declining. They say it's a cost-cutting measure, which obviously is the case. Mm-hmm. They also are tentatively planning for a train running from Disney Springs to Orlando International Airport. So I think all those factors are playing a role.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I think it's a bad move. It's a perk of being on property. I think it's a little short-sighted of Disney to have made that call, but
I would have rather that this becomes something that you pay for, but it's still an option. I would have rather, okay, add an extra $25, $30 per person to ride it. I would have paid that because I love the convenience of it. I know I'm never going to be late getting to the airport to fly home.
What we will say, it's now more than ever important to work with a travel agent who can help you plan those travel logistics. Yes. So if you want to book another shuttle, if you want to figure out the logistics of getting a car service or an Uber or a Lyft, Jenna can help you out with planning all of that.
Exactly. It's just one more logistical detail for me to work out for you, but more than happy to do it. Again, contact information down below.
And as of the start of the 50th anniversary, coincidentally, so on October 1st, 2021, if you are traveling on a plane, taking off from an airport in the United States, you need to have a real ID. This is basically the new federally government mandated form of your driver's license. It has a lot more security measures in place. So if your driver's license hasn't been renewed in the last 5 to 10 years, you need to make it a point to go to the DMV at some point in the next few months and get your real ID, because you will not be able to board a plane if you do not have that real ID as of October 1st.
And then last but not least, another thing that was announced this week, if you are flying to the United States from somewhere else, you need to have a negative COVID test within 3 days of your arrival. So keep that in mind if you're flying to Disney, if you're flying anywhere else in the United States, need to make sure to arrange that, but that is another thing that you need to plan for your trip to Disney.
So that is a very big look at everything happening at Walt Disney World in 2021. Let us know how you like these videos. We saw a lot of positive feedback on the 2020 tips video that we did to talk about things happening in 2020. So thank you everybody who watched that and commented on it. So hopefully you like this as well. But let us know in the comments, did we miss something that you want to hear about? Do you have any clarifying questions? We will also be sure to put out any sort of quick update videos as things are announced, because more is going to be announced.
Yes, indeed.
So definitely subscribe and stay tuned to the channel for that. But that is everything you need to know about traveling to Walt Disney World in 2021.
So that is going to be it for today's video. Again, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, follow us on Instagram at A Couple Travelers, and until next time, keep traveling.